Patti. I wanted to say I'm so excited for your journey that you're starting with Maskcara Beauty, and I promise that it's going to be an easy and exciting thing. So Izzy and I thought it'd be a great idea to get you started on this because one, it's easy. Two, you get more confident with your makeup. You start to explore different things once you get the hang of it. And we want you to feel amazing. We want you to feel beautiful and feel that you can do it on your own whenever you want. So I have set up my compact. I don't have the double layer like you, so I'm going to show you how I would recommend setting up your compact. So these are your colors. This is Mango, this is June, here is Shadow and Bella. So that's what I would put on your top layer. Now the next layer down, I know that you have one compact extra. So this is the Desert Sunset, this is the Tropicana. I would take one of these out as your extra so you can put your powder in. And I would have whichever lip color you choose, lip or cheek, then I would put the pearl, and I would put your powder, and then I would put your gilded. So you would have one tin that still has a lid, which a lid is useful because there's actually a little hack that you can do. This is actually a very helpful tool to get inside, in between your compact colors and help take them out. This is like a little trick. So you can use this to help you kind of navigate your palette so you don't stick your finger in the makeup. Okay, I'm gonna get started. So for me, I have redness. You don't have redness in your compact, but for me to get started, I'm gonna do a little bit of Aspen. And you don't have this brush, but you have a brush probably similar in your makeup kit. It just is kind of like any eyeshadow brush. This is a little bit of a rounded edge, and this is a flatter end. I use this rounded edge for color correct. Now you have Mango, which is the first color in your compact. I use that for any pigmentation. See, I have like a dark pigmentation here. And I'm going to show you how to apply it. I'm going to use it for my redness, and I'm using a different color called Aspen, but you would apply it the same with your Mango. So for instance, here, there's this redness. I just blot that on. I'm not trying to blend it into the skin at all or do anything like that. I'm just basically covering the spot. And I'll show you, I'll do the same spot, my hyperpigmentation, so you can see it now. So you can see there's little spots that you can see this. Aspen's one of our lighter contours, so if you have any redness, it has a green undertone, so it cancels out the red. And I just do this to prep my skin so it's more level. I'm going to use the same brush. I just kind of wipe it off on the back of my hand. So this is your compact. This is Mango. I just dab a little bit, not a whole lot. And I'll just put this here to cancel out that hyperpigmentation. So if you have any spots that are darker, that's what I recommend. Or if you happen to have dark circles when you wake up, you can use this in the same way. You can apply it in the same manner, or even with your finger right under, filling in the dark circle. I just kind of load it up like that. And then we're gonna go over it with our next color. Okay, so now let's go to your B2 brush. This is the bigger end, this is the smaller end. So you're gonna use this smaller end of this brush for quite a few things. You're gonna use it for your highlight, and you're gonna use it for your blush, which is your lip and cheek, and you're going to use the other end for powder. So I'm going to start with the smaller end, and I'm going to put it in your highlight, which is your second tin. Now I'm going to put this all over, so I'm going to start with kind of a rotation technique. So I'm kind of buffing it into the skin and pulling it around. And I go over my eyelid. I go in the center here. I'm gonna dab a little bit on my nose, but I'm gonna mostly pull it over my cheeks and eyes, like that. Now, something that you want to consider or think about when we're doing this makeup is that we're trying to lighten and brighten your skin. So this area we want to brighten, and we want to brighten like a little triangle here. We want that lightness to be reflective there. So that's where we're kind of focusing. It doesn't mean that you need to put a lot of makeup. A little bit goes a long way with the pigmentation of this makeup, which is great. It doesn't feel like you're wearing a lot, and you're not wearing a lot because of that. Now I'm going to use the same amount. Leela. Sorry, she's so rude. And we're going to put it on your cheek and chin area. So we're just going to buff this on the same way, kind of a rotating and buffing it in. And I make sure that I get underneath my nose. And I do it a little bit here, but you're noticing that I'm not going to put it the whole way up to here because I'm going to put a contour there. Okay? I have a little bit of angry spots that you're not going to have, but there you go. So that's the first step. Now I'm going to use your flat end of your other brush, and you're going to start to go into your shadow, which is your contour. Now I'm going to just tap a little bit. The contour is a little bit more tacky, so you can kind of pull it a little bit to get it onto the brush. And you can start with a little bit to start and then build as you get more confident. So I'm going to go in and I'm going to start on my forehead, and I pull this way. Now you can do it lighter, you can do it darker. The good thing about this makeup is you can't really make a mistake. You can always blend it. It's cream based, so you can move it. You can always kind of adjust it. So that's one of the things that's really nice about it. I'm going to go back in, and I'm just going to show you on my face where all the spots of contour. So I'm going to leave this unblended right now. And the other rule that I use for cheek, well, to start, it helps to find your cheekbone with your finger. Find where your bone is, and you want to basically mirror that line with your contour. And you want to get on the underside of it, just on the underside of it. So a good rule of thumb in general is that you start at the top of the ear and you pull it to the edge, the corner of your eye. So I'm going to show you here. There you go. So that's what it's going to look like. And I pull it into my hairline just a little bit to kind of give it a seamlessness to it. Now I'm just tapping a couple more times into the makeup to get it loaded again. And this is the last place that you're going to use it. And Izzy actually gave me this tip, is to go a little bit behind in your hairline. And you can kind of pull this down, and you're going to put it on the behind your ear here, and the point is to try to bring your jawline out. You're pulling your jawline, and you're giving a little bit of depth and a little bit of shadow there, and I just pull down with this brush and blend. Also, if you happen to load your brush too much or it's scary to you, you can always pull it here and push it down. This is where you can always use the excess of your contour. You just want to make sure that you blend this really well. you don't want to see that a hard line here. So you can either use this brush or you can use a beauty blender. I don't think I have mine right here, but a beauty blender. Izzy will show you the beauty blender. It's just like that little sponge. You want to wet it and wring it out so it's just damp. It doesn't have any water in it, and you just can pull it with your beauty blender. So here I'm going to use the other side, and I'm just blending this out, pulling it back here. This is one of the spots that I look in the mirror before I leave. This area. This is kind of a good spot that sometimes people forget. So if you check that area, then you know if you blended correctly. There you go. Now I'm going to just mirror the other side with this cheek. And again, going into the hairline. I have a little bit of excess, so I'm going to just put it up here. Now I'm going to show you how to blend this cheek. So the goal here is to leave the middle of this as pigmented as possible because we want that dimension in your makeup. So I pull the bottom down and kind of feather it into the cream makeup. And then I pull the top up. And I just blend that out. It's really easy. Shouldn't take too much movement. Now there you go. So it still has that dimension. We're going to do the same here. We're going to pull the top back into your hairline. And then you're going to pull the bottom down. And you're just blending this into your cream makeup. It should be a seamless gradient. Okay, now I'm going to pull this down, doing the same trick, pulling the bottom leg of this down, pulling the top of it up, but trying to keep that depth of that color in the center. Okay, and the final contour I'm going to show you is with the same brush. You're just going to dip half of it, like the quarter side of it. So I'll show you like this. Just the edge. See how I loaded just a part of the brush? And you can contour your nose. So it's just slightly you're drawing a line. And on this side, depending on how close you want the lines together, that's how thin your nose is going to look. So you can alter and adjust. There you go. Ideally, you want them to be the same length. Let me see. Hold on. Okay. See, even I make mistakes, but don't worry. You can do no wrong with this makeup. Okay, so now I'm just going to use the other side of the brush and I'm just going to pull this down. You're blending it in so it disappears. You're only getting the essence of what this line is, and then on the side you're not going to see any of that. See how it just disappears? It's just an illusion that you're darkening the side of your nose. But if you turn sideways, you're not actually seeing any darkness. Okay, now you have Bella Bronzer. So I put Bella Bronzer in your kit because it kind of helps warm some of the colors. Shadow is a cool contour, so I just dab a little bit. This is the same end of the brush that you started with for your highlight. So I'm just going to dab a little bit on there, and I pull it. I kind of dab it in the same areas that I put my contour. Just a little bit. Just on the top, actually. So you don't need to do your chin with this or your nose. Now, once you have some color on, it's always better to do lighter and build darker than to start too heavy. but you can always blend it out, so don't worry if that's the case either. Now I'm going to use the same kind of technique to just blend. I'm not pushing really hard. I'm just kind of giving it a little, you can tell when you're just putting a little bit onto your skin. You don't want to, it's not rough, it's not light. Couple of these moves, it's kind of, I'm getting this area around your eye is nice, and the top of your cheek. And you can, if you want, pull a little bit here, blend that in, but remember we are trying to get this part lighter. Okay, so now you've done the first layer of your compact, and I used the small end of this brush and the flat end of this brush so far. And if you have another, you can also use this end of this flat brush to do your color correct too. So this is a good end of a brush, the rounded end. You can use this with Mango. Now I'm gonna use Tropicana. So this is one of your other, the orangey color, corally color that you have. I tap it a couple of times, same end of the brush that I use for highlight and your bronzer, Bella bronzer. I'm just gonna tap a little bit on the apple of my cheek. Same on this. So I do a couple of taps, and then I kind of just pull it back a little bit. I do it in a stippling or the same kind of rotating application style. Okay? Now, for eyeshadow, I'm not going to do my eyeshadow in this just because it's going to take up more time, but you can use your shadow or your Bella bronzer as an eyeshadow. You can use this end of this brush to either apply it or an eyeshadow brush that you already have in your makeup kit. The next thing that I'm going to use that's in your second layer is your pearl. So this is an iridescent. I normally put it on with my finger. So I tap a little bit onto my finger, and I'm putting it in a half moon here on the side. I put it underneath my eyebrow just to brighten right underneath the edge of the eyebrow. I put it in the crease of my eye to brighten this. We're basically putting reflection. What we want to pull forward, we're using pearl. So I put it on the tip of my nose, up the ridge of my nose to pull that forward. And I put it on Cupid's bow. So I'm going to do the same spots on this side, mirroring what I just did here. And this helps to cover smile lines. It also gives your skin that dewiness, that hydrated look. So it's just going to glow. Okay? And, oh, I forgot, you have your gilded. I would recommend doing starting with your shadow and using Bella, and then putting gilded over top will be really nice. So that is your whole compact with, let me get my powder. That's the final step. So Izzy will show you, I use a two-step kind of finishing process for myself. So I use the powder, the setting powder. I put a little bit here, and then I just put it, mostly I'm focusing on my T-zone. So here, down my nose, a little bit on the edge of my cheeks here, but I've just put iridescent there. So I'm not really trying to powder the areas that I put iridescent. And with mature skin, you don't really want to use a whole lot of powder. The other step that I use, and Izzy can either help you get set up with this, I can help you get this, or we can do this down the line. It's not necessary right now, but it does help. This is a setting spray. You can either start your makeup with this and finish it, or you can just finish it. So they say to do 2 X's over your face. And that I just let dry, or I use a beauty blender to kind of press it in a little bit. The last touch that I do before I finish is put a little bit of my lip. This is Desert Sunset onto my lips. And you can use either a brush or your finger. And that is your complete mascara compact from start to finish. 2 brushes, and you have 9 tins, but 8 are in your compact. So we are so excited for this journey. I'm excited that Izzy thought this would be something that you would like, and you were receptive to it. So happy birthday. We are so excited to take you on this journey, and we're here as support whenever. You can always text me if you have any questions. We'll exchange numbers. So good luck. This is for you, to help you whenever you need it. You're gonna do great.